For St. John's, first-year head coach Mike Jarvis has brought a winning spirit to a program that has not been to a Final Four since 1985. A team that featured Chris Mullen and energetic head coach Lou Carnesecca. Now, Ron Artest and the Red Storm have visions of St. Petersburg. It's a showdown for a trip to the Final Four, and it's next. CBS Sports welcomes you to Knoxville, where today, for one team, a magical season will come to a painful end. For the other, the Final Four beckons, and the dream continues. It's the South Regional Final between the number 3 seed St. John's and the number 4 seed Ohio State. The Buckeyes ousted the number 1 seed Auburn here on Thursday night, and St. John's defeated Maryland by 14. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Bill Raftery, and it's great to have you with us. When we spoke with Mike Jarvis yesterday, he said these two teams are mirror images of each other. So many similarities, most notably outstanding guards.
Well, you don't get this far or this deep in the NCAA without great leadership or guys who like to lead their basketball team. Scooney Penn, great understanding of what they're trying to do on the offensive end. Eric Barkley, the tenacity, the aggressive nature to make big plays. They give it up, they score, they do whatever their team needs. Eric Barkley, off the dribble, Sean, he makes big plays that generally lead to easy goals for his club. And when they need something deep, oh, he gets the puppy set and strokes it with a little nylon at the end. And Scooney Penn, whether it's setting up the offense, getting people in position to dominate, or finding a teammate who can finish like Michael Redd, he steps up. And also the ability off the weave to get himself into the flow. He knocks them down from deep with some enthusiasm.
Now let's welcome in the third member of our team. Here's Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Sean, I spoke earlier with Ohio State head coach Jim O'Brien, and he told me his biggest concern is St. John's versatility and their ability to pass the ball so well. St. John's averages about 17 assists per game, and all 5 starters average double-digit scoring. Ohio State averages about 13 assists per game, and only Scooney Penn and Michael Redd average double-digit scoring. Now, St. John's head coach Mike Jarvis told me both teams like to run, so the difference might be who converts more fast break opportunities, but he also said these teams are so similar the game will probably be decided by sheer will. Sean?
Two strong-willed coaches, Jim O'Brien in his second season at Ohio State. And his starting lineup is just 2 members of the front court, Ken Johnson, the center, and Jason Singleton alongside. And a 3-guard look. Brian Brown has started every game of the NCAA tournament after not starting in the regular season, with Michael Redd, their leading scorer, and Scooney Penn. For Mike Jarvis, in a memorable first season at St. John's after 8 at George Washington and 5 at Boston University, his starting lineup: the front court of Tyrone Grant in the middle between Ron Artest and LeVar Postel. Into the backcourt, the freshman Barkley runs the show with Bootsy Thornton alongside. The officials are David Libby, Gene Monge, and Mark Whitehead. Ohio State in red, St. John's in white. Artest will jump with Johnson. The winner goes to the Final Four, and it's underway. Batted around, and it'll be St. John's ball.
Ohio State, John McDonough, a little belatedly goes, wait a minute.
Hope they didn't throw you out of your timing.
Kilter, what's a nice little pick to start the game, pick and roll.
One of the many similarities, both teams outstanding, executing the half-court offense. LeVar Postel, a miss. He had a cold shooting night in their win over Maryland. And a calming violation. You don't see that called very often, but Michael Redd called for the carry.
He has a tendency to get it up there and then shift, and that time the luggage too high and exposed.
So now Barkley will be guarded to start the game by 10. Barkley, a terrific effort in the win over Maryland. 24 points and 9 assists. Thornton, rebound, Grant. Blocked by Johnson. Blocked again. Thornton had his shot swatted by Johnson, who has now blocked 13 shots in 3 games, plus less than a minute in the NCAA tournament. The ball was last touched by St. John.
And Sean, how about that trip? He hurried one, got involved in the others. What an impact he can have on the defensive end for Jimmy O'Brien's team.
And Jim O'Brien says it's important that Johnson stay out of foul trouble when he's out of the game. They're very small up front.
A lot of ISOs. These talented guys room to work.
Red shot rattled out. Brian Brown. Jump ball. The ball was tapped. And since it was St. John's that reached in to tie it up, the defensive tie-up, they'll get the ball without consulting the arrow. Jim O'Brien and Mike Jarvis, very familiar with each other, dating back to their collegiate days, and both went to college in the city of Boston.
Mike said he was a better player. I don't know about that.
No, I think he was joking when he said that. When they played BC, he was deep on the bench at Northeastern when Jim O'Brien was a star. Offensive foul, Artest, a little bit out of control as he dribbled to the elbow.
Both clubs well-schooled defensively, good understanding. St. John's now will press man-to-man. They'll sniff around to trap. They also do a three-quarter diamond press. But with Scooney Penn, generally good things happen for Ohio State.
Barkley picks up Penn in the full court. They might try to wear out Scooney. That was a strategy for Auburn the other night. Penn picks it into the corner. Brown, his three ball rattles out to Tyrone Grant. So neither team has scored in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Barkley had his shot altered. And this is a 3-on-0 break. Look out. Michael Red.
Authority. But all set up by that scrape that you noted. Scooney Penn with the quick hands forced Barkley to readjust and take a tough delivery.
Eric Barkley poked in the eye. Gene Monge, the official, over to take a look at him.
Maybe a contact, Sean, the way he's looking up, trying to relocate.
Chudney Gray has gone to the table to check in should Barkley need to come out.
Both clubs like, and all set up by the defense, like to leak out. Opportunity break teams, good understanding, but look at the red shirt, Sean. That's just bad. And particularly for St. John's, the way they've covered the floor and balanced it, not the type of defense that you're accustomed to, but right there, that little scrape, a little ball of readjustment, he may have caught him up in the eye area. And fortunately, it looks like it's nothing more than equipment adjustment.
It is a contact lens problem.
So now you've seen a lot of players that compete. He raises it another level. Coaches like to say he's nasty. They mean it in a very attractive way from a basketball standpoint. He gets after people.
And when you talk about his opposite number, Scooney Penn, that's the first thing Jim O'Brien says. He's great in part because he is a tremendous competitor and he hates to lose.
And that's why I think Mike Jarvis alluded to the fact, talking with both of us, that other people are going to influence the outcome because he thinks those two are so tough-minded, so influential in their outcome that they'll negate one another.
And he made an astute comment about the similarities between these two teams. Smallish front courts, excellent guard play, teams that can run the full court or execute the half court. They play excellent defense. Coaches with a long history with each other. And this break has gone on so long that the Ohio State people are getting restless. That's C.M. Newton, the chairman of the men's basketball committee, seated next to the St. John's bench.
You don't mind these later in the game when you need the blow. But as you look on with Barkley, Speedy Claxton was a teammate of his at Christ the King. And his mother, Eric Barkley's mother, moved south, and he moved in with Speedy Claxton. They drove to Christ the King every day, bringing Speedy's sister to Christ the King. And it was then he started to be serious about his academics, think about a future. Went up to MCI. Max Good has turned out some great talents. He has played internationally. He's older than his age. A very solid performer and very nice piece of officiating here. You don't like to play without your point guard.
So 2 minutes in. Barkley's contact lens no longer a problem. St. John's looking for its first point.
Costello guy two-fronted and light it up and get to the rim.
Tyrone Grant into the lane. Horn's been in the lane a long time. Artest stripped on the way up by Penn. Barkley the defender. Penn fouled. Count it!
Oh, Sean! The strength! That is incredible. Unfortunately for Artest, he got stripped and may have gotten fouled. But Singleton has teed up. That's one of the few times he gets some support in the middle. This ability of Penn is just incredible. Barkley tries to avoid contact. Look at this. On the wrong side of the rim, the ability to levitate and still reverse. That is impressive.
Penn's their best free throw shooter on the 4 free throw shooting team. He's at 74%. He finished the old-fashioned three-point play. It's 5-0 Buckeyes, nearly 2.5 minutes in. St. John's doesn't have many long scoring droughts. They average 79 points per game. Postel in the lane. Missed the runner. Red had it picked off by Barkley and blocked again by Johnson. Penn the save, but right to Thornton.
Oh my goodness, what a defensive maneuver.
Postel knocks in the baseline jumper.
I think Ken Johnson's the best blocking pianist in the country. I like to go out on the lift. Extraordinary position defense.
He does play the piano in his spare time very well. 5-2 Ohio State.
Use this flare screen well.
Red with the 33% three-point shooter. Barkley with Penn running at him, trying to surprise him with the steal.
Artest down on the block. I think he can do some damage to Singleton down there. Pretty
nice
good
pass. Artest to Grant, who couldn't finish. It was batted out by Brian Brown to Scooty Penn.
And Red all open. They don't spot him.
Penn, a chance for a 4-point play.
Say, he's got moxie. Mention Barkley's moxie. He had all the areas covered, too, as Michael Rell filled the lane on the left side of the floor. He didn't spot him, but just pure stroke from deep and a giveaway.
Well, Penn's had a 3-point play with a foul and the free throw made. Now a chance for a 4-point play. And the foul was on Grant, his first. 9-2, Ohio State.
And usually for St. John's, when things are not going well, Barkley steps up, finds people, or creates on his own.
4 minutes in. Just 2 points for St. John's. They've breathed through the first 3 rounds of the tournament. Haven't had many stretches where they've looked tentative like this. Postel has it back. Barkley with Penn reacting quickly. Barkley, a 3.
It's amazing. He just loves to stick that dagger in.
Well, off the top, we advertised the point guards, and they're living up to the advanced billing. Penn has 7 of the 9 Ohio State points. Barkley has 3 of the 5 St. John's points.
And here's the flex offense. Back screens on the box. Look at this lob. Oh, Singleton. Johnson scoring.
First bucket for Johnson off a perfect lob pass from Jason Singleton. Now Barkley. That was another long 3, and the rebound by Singleton. Penn leads a 3-on-3. This is something, again, Bill, both teams do well. They'll run when they have it, but they make great decisions about when to pull it up.
They respect the defense. They understand numbers well, Sean. Flare screen once more.
Penn off the mark from 3-point range. Bodies fly and a foul called. Artest hit the deck. The foul is going to go on Jason Singleton. His first and the first against Ohio State. Timeout. Ohio State leads by 6.
Coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Oldsmobile, First Union, Kinko's, and by Visa.
Sean McDonough, the ability to pull the string. Just a little screen by Scooty Penn. And look at this ball movement and then the rest. They're rather easy when you're that size and that agile by Johnson. But pulling the string, selectively running plays, Jimmy O'Brien, his club has been sound out of the gate and counter that. not as smooth for St. John's. They need Barkley to get them organized on the offensive end.
Brian's second crack at winning an Elite Eight game when he was at Boston College in '94. They made it this far, lost to Florida in Miami as the Gators went on to the Final Four. We see Thornton off a nice cut from the elbow to the basket.
And that's one of those deals you say, let's try the zone. They switched Ohio State. Nice read by Thornton with the dive.
Well, the leading scorer for the Red Storm on the season now at 14.8 per game. They have very balanced scoring. All 5 St. John's starters average in double figures. 6 minutes played. Ohio State shooting excellent. St. John's has been cold. Our shot clock a factor.
Artest with the matchup. Now they switch.
Red. He's a little bit off his game to start. Now 1 for 4 from the floor. Barkley waiting for Artest to join them in the front court. Be interested to see if fatigue becomes a factor for St. John's later on. All 5 of these starters played at least 34 minutes Thursday night in the win over Maryland. Artest thought he was fouled. Here's a 3-on-1 Buckeye break.
Artest got to do a better job protecting the dribble, having trouble with his laces as well. And you can just see Ohio State reads, anticipates, and leaks out on the floor in their fast break.
It was 10 off the pass from Singleton as they played catch running the break. Artest, high arcing shot is good for Ron Artest.
Pretty good D2, force a guy away from the goal like that. They need him to touch the basketball.
Artest, a sophomore from Queensbridge, New York. Their second leading scorer, just a 10th of a point per game under the total posted by Bootsy Thornton, 14-6 for Artest. There's Singleton a factor early.
And how about Scooney Penn? A great post entry, and the defense lacking. Not good denial.
Singleton and Deshaun Coleman, a bench player, the only 2 seniors on this Buckeye team. 6 other would-be seniors have left the program. Jim O'Brien asked 5 players to leave when he first came to Columbus. A lot of problems on and off the court. He's cleaned it up and he's won. That's quite a combination. Tyrone Grant inside.
And Thornton with the penetration cleaned it up too. Drew a lot of people towards him. And Jimmy wasn't afraid to step up to the plate out there. Wasn't the most popular guy in town.
Many of them were Ohio natives. Here's Jim O'Brien, an out-of-towner, out-of-stater coming in. Some weren't happy he was the selection when he was hired. Then he ran 5 players asking him to leave. But they love him there now. Red, nice move.
They may like Grant just as much. Come into town with that funny, peculiar accent. Not funny, but you've got guys like Michael Red complimenting with beautiful penetration. Your offense is going to look pretty good.
You think about Singleton and Coleman, they stuck it out. First 3 years at Ohio State, they lost twice as many games as they won. They were 28 and 56 as Buckeyes entering this year. Now they're in the Elite Eight. Red takes the Grant jump hook air ball. Penn the hit ahead. What body control by Singleton.
Beautiful look and the protection of the shot. And I can understand what St. John's did. They gave Grant an opportunity to go on Johnson. They've got to go inside to get back into this game.
A lot of Buckeye fans here, and they're making a lot of noise. Thornton threw it out of bounds. State has hit its last 4 shots, and the Buckeyes lead by 8 with 9 minutes played. This is one of the few bumps in the road in the tournament so far for St. John's. They hammered Samford in the first round, handed Indiana its biggest defeat ever in the NCAA tournament, and then built a 26-point lead against Maryland. A lot of confidence exuded by the St. John's team throughout this tournament, but you sense here in the first 9 minutes, Bill, right now they're a little shaky.
Bravado, missing a little bit. They usually the city toughness shines through. They get after it. Now questioning themselves just a little bit. It's usually Barkley's time when that happens. Let's see if he steps up, Sean.
They bring a little pressure. Reggie Jesse's off the bench wearing number 41. Donald Emanuel, 33, also into the game. And here's Boban Sabovic for Ohio State to the baseline where Red was knocked off the ball by Emanuel.
And don't forget that little zone, too. They like to go back and protect with a 2-3 or a flat 3-2.
George Reese is in for Ohio State. Postel fouled as Singleton jumped out at him. And that's 2 personals on Singleton, who was in foul trouble Thursday night against Auburn, but survived through it. For complete tournament coverage, live score, stats, and more, check out Tournament Live only at cbs.sportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
And Sean, Ron Artest out. Not a bad move by Mike Jarvis, just to relax him. He was part of that mix that wasn't comfortable. And Mike said it took the guys time to accept me and what I thought. You got to show them the way, and then they'll buy in. And that's what's happened with the St. John's team.
He also says it takes about a year to know your players and really know your team's personality. We make that point about Ron Artest because Artest can be a little bit moody. Mike said, I learned, though, he's also our hardest working player, so you can forgive some of the moodiness. And the other day when everybody was making a big deal about Artest's stomach flu and his injured foot, Jarvis just kind of sloughed it off as if to say, I know he'll be ready when the time comes, and he was.
And the bell rings. How about his diet, too? Oh, my goodness, we'll allude to it later.
He told us he had 9 burgers on Tuesday on the way down here. That's why he got sick. Bad pass by Penn, and Red couldn't handle it. That's the 3rd Buckeye turnover.
And you very seldom see Jim upset at his team simply because of a mistake. That time the deployment wasn't proper. A gamble on the sideline by Scooty Penn.
Artest back in. That's Jesse into the lane to Artest. He lost it off his leg. Ohio State ball, and Artest has had a very tough go of it. That's 5 turnovers already by St. John.
Sean, he was wide open, and the frustration bent it at the end. This is what he's got to calm down. Things aren't going his way. It's not as smooth as it's been all tournament. Just relax. Get that comfort zone.
Artest has committed 4 of the 5 turnovers. 10 along 3. And the battle for the rebound won by Johnson, and he's fouled by Artest. And that's 2 on Ron Artest. And the 3rd team foul.
Now, this is a critical time for Mike Jarvis, I think, calming his guys down. Emotionally, they're fragile right now, not reacting typical St. John's.
The inbound play, a lob to Johnson, a very tough shot, well defended by Tyrone Grant, who also corralled the rebound. More than midway through the half, the Buckeyes by 6. Trying to go to the Final Four is Ohio State for the first time since 1968. Postel blocked by George Reese. Thornton lost it as he put it on the floor. Reese ahead to Penn, ahead to Red.
They still give it up on time, Sean. What an angle. Didn't waste the extra bounce and got it to Red, who can elevate and put those puppies up and down.
Last trip to the Final Four for St. John's was in '85. They've been to the Final Four twice, also in '52. Ohio State's been 8 times to the Final Four, but no trips in more than 30 years.
Okay, forcing it quickly now, St. John's. Got to relax.
Postel beating up after an awful shooting night in the win over Maryland when he was 2 for 11 from the floor.
Pretty good catch there, huh? Barkley with the drive, draw dish to Postel.
Bobovich, the bounce, the baseline to Reese. He gets the bounce. First basket for George Reese, the junior from Columbus, in his first year at Ohio State. He's bounced around to 2 junior colleges and also spent some time at the University of South Florida before returning to his hometown university.
St. John's has to get their legs. It's only 7 points down. Still not playing real well.
Jesse, the lob. Tough shot. Blocked again by Johnson. Barkley got it back. Grant tried to tip. And Reese batted away from the rim, and a foul and a reach-in.
Might have been Tyrone Grant on the reach-in. Sean, the reason I didn't like the look is what is Barkley going to do with it once he catches it amongst the bigger guys? You're leading him to a bad situation.
Well, Mike Jarvis has another concern with fouls as Grant has his second.
And you know, with the big guy down underneath, it's not going to be too easy to do. He can dominate and change, and he stayed out of foul trouble, Ken Johnson.
5 block shots for them by Johnson.
And here's that zone look. As advertised, they become comfortable playing it.
He's trying to sneak a few minutes rest as Jim O'Brien for Scooty Penn. Jason Singleton told us, looks like last year all over again when Penn's not on the floor. Last year was a nightmare. They won 8 games, went 8-22, finished last in the Big Ten.
Remember he had those 4 fouls, all of a sudden things fell apart on them.
That was Thursday night against Auburn, but Order was restored when Penn came back in, but ahead by 7. Coach O'Brien elected to give his best player a rest.
Good job going to power down here.
Artest, another turnover. 5 turnovers by Artest. The lob, a little high. How did Red tip that in?
Readjustment. Oh, arm wrenching. But all of the red shirts, because the turnovers are in a bad spot. They can't get balanced.
Artest nearly lost it again. This is the largest Buckeye lead, and their fans are roaring.
And not a good look here.
8 on the shot clock. Good cut by Thornton.
And you said that twice. He's the one guy that's just playing his game, using screens, or when it's a zone, making nice dives.
4 points for Thornton. A good pass to him by Grant. A good catch by Sabovich. And Barkley a little too tight defending. 2 fouls on Barkley. So Artest, Grant, and Barkley, 3 starters, all saddled with 2 fouls each. It's been an excellent start with some highlight film material thrown in from the Buckeyes. 6.5 left in the first half. Ohio State leads by 7. St. John's has played its worst 13.5 minutes of the tournament so far.
Not as cocky, not as brash. All of a sudden you start questioning yourself. Ron Artest off his game. I think you'd agree with that. And not the looseness, the dribbling ability, finding people. And that's why I think Mike Jarvis is such an asset now. Calming them down. It's a long way to go here. It's a marathon. Just relax. The foul problems you alluded to with Grant, Artest, and Barkley. Now he's going to have to test his bench with Chudney Gray running the point.
Chud Gray is in for St. John's. They'll go with a zone look, and Jim O'Brien has Scoonie Penn back in, who is listening to instructions from the coach.
And against this zone, you got to have somebody shoot from the top and flash to the foul line. Look at this look.
And a foul called as the pass went underneath to Reese.
Thank you.
Tonight on CBS, martial arts superstars Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall are kicking the fun back into Saturday night. Join the LAPD's dream team for an all-new martial law tonight on CBS. And Tyrone Grantville just called for his 3rd personal foul.
It was a gamble, and in the zone you think you can protect, but good deployment once again. A pass from the top to the baseline against the zone, that shouldn't happen.
And everything going right for Ohio State. They're not a good free throw shooting team, but Reese made the front end of a 1-and-1. They shoot 61% as a team, and Reese is right at 61% himself. He made 1 out of 2. Donald Emanuel in for Grant, had the rebound. An 8-point Buckeye lead. Their largest advantage was 9.
Jesse, a terrific pass around the floor now as well. There's their little screen down on the sideline. Oh my goodness, everything, as you noted, not going smoothly. They had a play designed to move it to the other side. As we take a look at Mike Jarvis, all the years of being an assistant baseball coach in his early assistant coach, the maturity level that he has and coaxing it out of his team right now is critical.
His team might look rattled, but he never will. Right now he's playing without 3 starters. Grant, Barkley, and Artest all on the bench with foul trouble. For Ohio State, it's Brown with the ball with Penn, Sabovich, Reese, and Johnson. Singleton and Red getting a breather at the moment.
Great job against this zone.
Sabovich fouled. Will it be 3? Yes, it will. He'll shoot 3 free throws as Reggie Jesse fouled him.
And Sean, you look for movement in the zone. What a wonderful trip for Ohio State. This is the penetration by Brown, and Sabovich, who's a little taller than he looks, 6'7", because he's so strong. And the ability to move the basketball around the horn, the penetration eventually, and here, well, I guess he watches a lot of tape. Smart little play.
He's just 63% from the line. That's Sabovich's first point. He's a freshman from Yugoslavia. Played 1 year of high school basketball in Newark, New Jersey, where he lived for a year and a half with his uncle.
And Paul Biancardi was telling us he had a group of people meet him at the airport.
Members of the Serbian church in Columbus. That made him feel very welcome. Of course, Ohio State had nothing to do with that.
No, of course not. Assistant coach Paul Biancardi. See if they can set their offense up. So great denial. Good reads by Ohio State early.
10-point lead for Ohio State.
Should have shot it.
Penn called for a foul and a reach-in. That is his first and the team's third. Now let's check out a CBS Sports Line stat. We mentioned it earlier. The last Final Four appearance for Ohio State was in '68. And the last for St. John's in '85. In '85, the Red Men, as they were then known, lost in the national semifinal to Georgetown. Barkley back in, had trouble getting it in. In '52, St. John's lost in the national championship game to Kansas.
And Barkley now into it, has to be intelligent. And a nice little jumper at three could get them going.
Thornton has been one player who has looked as he has throughout the rest of the tournament. He's been sharp. He has 7 of their 21. The deficit 7 for the Red Storm. For updated stats, complete tournament coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com.
Running the baseline, screening, popping into the lane, and very effective against the zone.
Brian Brown, he's from Brooklyn. Played AAU ball and in high school with and against several members of the St. John's team. Postel pulled down the rebound. Brown and Eric Barkley had some memorable battles in the New York Catholic League. Postel ran down the errant pass. He's tough with the bounce. Nice pass to Emmanuel. He's hacked in the act.
Well, you expect good players when your offense isn't going right, and you can see all the tape work done by Ohio State. They have fought through screens, adjusted on ball reversal, and now it's up to your people to do something creative. They're doing a wonderful job, the ability to get into that lane now, and Postel has had a couple of opportunities where he could have shot that time with a great decision to Emmanuel.
And Donald made the first. The freshman from Houston, Texas, shoots just 39% from the line. That one looked like the form of a much better shooter than that. Brian Brown to the bench after his first personal. Brown said that their rivalry in high when he was at Bishop Laughlin and Eric Barkley was at Christ the King was a lot like Ohio State and Michigan is in football, so that must be quite a rivalry.
Well, that Catholic League, one of the great little conferences in the country that they compete with, and then they play with one another in the summer, Riverside Church and other leagues.
5 unanswered points by St. John's. They're back within 5 with just under 4 minutes left in the first half.
And that's not without a good half. Now they go 2-3 zone. Different look.
Shot clock at under 10 now. Johnson from 13 feet. Nicely done.
They just know where to go. And Savovich with a terrific look. Movement of the big guy so important. If he can make the shot, great. But he also can reverse it.
Barkley using a Jesse screen, a whistle away from the ball, an offensive foul.
I think Emmanuel down in the corner, nothing helps your offense. Just stand still and screen.
19 fouls since I was away from the ball. It will be a 1-and-1 opportunity for the Buckeyes. The personal on Emmanuel, his first. Emmanuel doesn't play much. He averages 10 minutes per game, and he was a DNP, did not play in 6 of their 36 games coming into tonight, but he has to play because Grant has 3 fouls. Boban Savovich at the line. They have 2 more Yugoslavians coming next year, including a 7'3", 245-pound center named Alex Radojevic.
You're working on next year's lineup, huh?
Well, imagine this Ohio State team with another quality big man, because right now that seems to be the one thing they're lacking. As Jim O'Brien says, this is a good matchup for us with St. John's, because they're not big up front. We have trouble with bigger teams along the front line. 2 free throws by Savovich. The Bucks back up by 9. Ohio State leads by 9. Coming up on Pennzoil at the half, Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, and Rick Majerus get you updated on all the tournament news. Plus a chat with Kentucky's head coach Tubby Smith as he prepares to take on Michigan State in the Midwest Regional Final tomorrow. That's all coming up on Pennzoil at the half.
I know there are a lot of happy maitre d's in the city of New York knowing that Rick's in town.
Boy, he does a terrific job in anything he does.
Oh, he's the best. The best.
And listen, it's been fun to listen to him all day. Greg and Clark.
Yes, he goes. A little down screen, a little different look.
Bootsy Thornton trying to go inside the Postell. He was fouled. Count it.
With the kiss. They need some power. They have not been themselves and yet within contact. I think that's going to be a big concern for Ohio State. You haven't seen the emotion, but getting the ball inside, this is the forceful nature you're accustomed to with St. John's.
Foul on Savovich, his first, the team's fifth. Postell 2 out of 2 from the line tonight. He has 9 points, averages 12.8 per game. Missed the free throw. Scooney Penn came flying in for the rebound. 3 minutes left in the first half. Red. Now Penn. Savovich. Reese. Johnson, the only other player who hasn't touched it on this possession. Red, the line drive miss. He continues a little bit colder than usual.
That little 2-3 zone. Ohio State has guys who can penetrate. That's very helpful against the zone.
Postell, apparently they like that matchup with Savovich guarding him. He missed a shot that time, and Savovich came up with the rebound.
They may like it, but if Savovich plays him tight, he leaves it to Johnson. That's good defense.
Jim O'Brien's big concern, all the St. John's perimeter players can dribble and penetrate. And there's Red stroking the 3. 11 points for Michael Red.
The ability to shoot it deep, so important against the zone, but they stretch it as well with these perimeter people.
Red continues climbing up the Ohio State all-time point total ladder. Now 1,337 points. He just went past Jim Clemens into the 18th spot. Postell out of control, but a blocking foul called on a step in the lane. It's on George Reese. And I believe overruled there. One official had a block, but David Libby, the lead official, stepped in and said, no, it's an offensive foul on LeVar Postell. And that has Mike Jarvis very upset, about as animated as you'll ever see him.
Yeah, this is going to be helpful to St. John's, I think. His guys will know he's behind them. The controversy on this particular call, you can see the forceful nature. They backed off and would have given him a chance to get to the foul line. I think I'm going to let that one go. Give it to Postell.
Gene Monge had it a block. He made that call, but David Libby overruled him. It was the first personal on Postell. Now Jesse played it ahead to Thornton. He lost it as he started to stumble. Reese played it ahead to Penn. Emmanuel defending. Nice defense. He forced a miss, and Postell rebounded. 1:20 left in the half. Buckeyes by 10, matching their largest lead. Now it's 8 on the lay-in by Barkley.
There's the juice in the open floor. Very explosive and confident. Maybe a step up in their attitude right now by St. John's.
John Sanderson on the floor for Ohio State, number 33. Red, another 3. He's starting to feel it.
How about him with a little nylon? Nick.
Barkley. Oh, what a shot. And he'll have a chance at the free throw line.
He's one of the, if you score 2 points on Eric Barkley, he's got to come back and get right after you. Well, the ball movement, the deployment, and look, the zone just not reacting. The slower people in the back there, Postell does not react. But Eric Barkley has the ability, the little kiss, to go right after you at key times in the game. He's starting to get in the flow now, and that's dangerous for Ohio State.
Barkley is 7. The foul on Sanderson with his first to put Ohio State over the limit. Barkley heads out. They'll try to avoid his picking up another foul as Chudney Gray comes in for the final 55 seconds. You're right. St. John's has played a poor half, Bill, but they're close enough that Ohio State really can't be comfortable. 10.
How about this? He reads right away. Knew it was man-to-man. Took his guy. Got a good look.
Jesse, the starter for much of the year, gave it to Gray in the 20-second timeout called by Coach Jarvis. Tonight on CBS, these two private eyes have what it takes to be heroes. Maybe it's because they learned from the best. Chuck Norris, from the producers of Walker, Texas Ranger. Don't miss an all-new Sons of Thunder tonight on CBS. Well, we showed you the road to the Elite Eight for St. John's. Ohio State has also had a relatively easy run. They had a struggle with Auburn, pulled away and won by 8. But it was a 61-all tie with 3 minutes to go. But that win over Detroit was the biggest win ever in the tournament for the Buckeyes. And they prevailed over Murray State in the first round by 14. About a 10-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Barkley back in now that they're on offense. Emanuel couldn't handle the pass. Thornton saved it. He was fouled. And Bootsy Thornton will go to the line as Johnson hit him on the arm.
And does Barkley make things happen? That's his penetration. They've got Gray right up. Jarvis in the game now simply because his team is. He can start to coach a little bit. The emotional aspect of the game, it's all up to the players. But once again, Eric Barkley with a little magic wasn't handled real well. But Bootsy dancing a little bit down there on the baseline. He has been tough and solid, whether it's the dive or finish.
First foul on Johnson. Thornton from Baltimore really enjoyed that victory over Maryland. He felt he was slighted by the Terrapins during the recruiting process. They showed little interest in him. Part of that was for academic reasons. He had to go to junior college first. Timeout called to 20 by Jim O'Brien. A 6-0 run. Bootsy Thornton's overcome a lot of obstacles, including some problems in the family life. His half-brother Travis is in a prison in Maryland, serving 3 years on drug-related charges. He's eligible for parole in May. Bootsy frequently goes to visit him in Jessup, Maryland. He says the hardest thing is when you walk away and that door shuts and you know you walk out and your brother is still in there. And what a game he had against Duke, a game his brother watched from confinement.
And what a bright attitude or outlook he has in our meeting with him. He's named after a musician, Bootsy Collins, and I guess his mother had the music on and he was in the crib moving and grooving. He became
dad
Bootsy.
Is Marvis Sr., and the mom didn't want little Bootsy to be Marvis Jr., but Dad did, so he is Marvis Jr., but the mother decided to start calling Bootsy because she heard a song by the artist you mentioned.
Just in case he couldn't fight when he was older, huh? You want to take one where you can tip.
They can take the last shot. Red for 3. Good!
Is he feeling it? Oh, imagine him with the mix of deep threat and bounce into ecstasy. He's the load.
Just the way the first half ended for Ohio State Thursday night against Auburn when Scoonie Penn hit a long 3.
Speaking of Bootsy and dancing, how about Michael Redd? He had those puppies in motion.
Boy, Jim O'Brien got real excited, didn't he? He knows there's a long way to go. The end of the first half, the score Ohio State 41, St. John's 33. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Isuzu, the United States Air Force, Charles Schwab, and by Pepsi One.
We'll return to Knoxville after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship.
American General, Cellular One, and by the United States Postal Service.
Halftime at Thompson-Boling Arena on the campus of the University of Tennessee. Ohio State has an 8-point lead and had the edge in play virtually throughout that first half, Bill.
They have been solid changing defenses, also against the zone of St. John's, moving the ball, screening, finding open holes, and I just think the bravado that's so typical of St. John's has to return or they're going to be in trouble, Sean.
And they really need Ron Artest, one of their leaders, to have a much better second half than he did in the first. He committed 5 of those 10 Red Storm turnovers, and Michael Redd has been brilliant throughout the tournament, now with 17 points in this one. Ohio State's ball to begin the second half. Penn guarded by Barkley.
And right now, St. John's going with their man-to-man red. Play by, what a step through. Oh, a little lingerie. Pick it up, Sean McDonough. Oh, what a step through.
Well, when Jim O'Brien told us he was the best offensive player that he'd ever seen from the foul line in with his moves, ability to take it to the basket, we both looked at him like you're crazy.
But being played by the St. John's best defender as well.
I'm a believer now. After what we've seen in this tournament, Ohio State matching its largest lead. Postell knocks in the jumper. He has 11.
And Ron Artest has to stay on the floor with Michael Redd. And when he's out top, let him dribble. When he makes the move, take away the dribble path.
Same fivesome that started the game for Ohio State begins the second half. Penn, Redd, Brown, Singleton, and Johnson. Redd feels it. That one rims out of bounds. Last touch by Singleton. Here's Michelle Tafoya.
Guys, at halftime, Mike Jarvis told me that he's asked his team to pick up their intensity and play much harder on defense, but he also wanted them to pick up on his calm demeanor. He said, I don't want them to think I'm panicking, because I'm not. Sean?
All right, Michelle. Inside they go. Grant fouled by Johnson, who thought that was a clean block. Would have been the 5th block for Johnson. Instead, it's his 2nd foul. And an aggressive move to the basket by Grant, who is playing with 3 fouls.
And Sean, one of the dilemmas when you're a great shot blocker is you rely on that ability instead of denying, moving a guy out. Don't let him catch the basketball that well. With 2 in jeopardy, I would continue for Mike Jarvis. Pound it in, see if he can get number 3. He's a big factor on the defensive end.
Tyrone Grant, the only senior on the St. John's team, 59% from the line, and much worse than that here in the NCAA tournament. He's now 3 for 14 shooting free throws in their 4 games in the tournament.
You're tough. He's got the bad hands, got tape on the head. You want everything.
I'm just reporting the facts.
Yeah, you're very factual.
He has 3 points. He has been playing with a sore wrist, a fractured bone in that right wrist during the season. He had a staph infection the other night in his left hand. He dislocated a finger. That's taped tonight. Penn, great cut underneath and an excellent pass by Redd.
And that's a little flex screen on the baseline. They ran it earlier. Scooney was the screener earlier in the game. This time the recipient.
Barkley to Thornton. Thornton tried a quick 3, and Brown blocked it out of bounds.
Showing the ability to pass. Also, the screen underneath sets it up, and the alert release too before traffic can gather.
Barkley to Artest with Postell, Grant, and Thornton. The starting 5 beginning the second half. They need Artest to heat up. That's an air ball. But no rim, just the backboard beside the rim.
And he's not half of himself, Sean. He's got to just relax and get into it.
Singleton nicely along the baseline, then a wild shot, tipped it himself and missed. Out of bounds goes Thornton with the ball. It'll be Ohio State's ball.
They are not comfortable. And Mike's comments to Michelle Tafoya, you can understand why. He is a relaxed guy. They are playing a little panicky right now as Mike Jarvis tries to calm them down.
Johnson in the lane, shooting over Grant, and there's the soft touch from the Piano Man.
And that little lane is your tomb for Grant if you can let a guy post up like that.
The lead grows to 11. Postell to Thornton. Artest. Another air ball. Shot clock continues to tick down to 8. Postell missed a 3. Thornton the offensive rebound, and he missed a short one.
Well, they are totally off their game. Tribute to the great defense, though, of Ohio State.
It has to be tough for Artest, but when you know you're in a big game, you know you're struggling, you're trying to get out of it, but every shot seems to make it worse for him.
I would go inside if I'm post up. That's his game anyhow. He can do a lot of things. Get to the rim.
That's a miss from 3-point land by Artest into the Ohio State's ball. Reggie Jesse's coming in. It might be Artest going out.
No,
it'll be Tyrone Grant.
I think part of that was that last post up for Ohio State and Ken Johnson. It would just be physical, and Jesse, let's see, the matchup will be Artest on Johnson.
And Coach Broken pressure here in the backcourt being applied by St. John's.
Terrible shooting percentage. A real struggle for the Johnnies.
The numbers were similar at the start of the first half, and St. John's picked it up later in the half.
This is where he's tough. Look at all these jukes and bounces. Oh, pick it up.
And then Red's shot rattled out to Artest. Quickly ahead to Barkley. Bootsy Thornton. Barkley and Penn right there reacting quickly.
Move it quickly and move your body, St. John's. This defense is suffocating.
As it has been throughout the NCAA tournament. The three opponents played by Ohio State in the tournament shot a combined 32% against the Buckeyes. Here's Jesse just off the bench with his first bucket.
Jesse, a Bishop Loughlin kid. You mentioned Ryan Brown, another one. Bobby Leckie, their high school coach, tuning in back at home.
He's a longtime friend of Jim O'Brien. And Jesse's the all-time leading scorer of Bishop Loughlin in New York City. Johnson, the jump hook wouldn't go. Singleton committed the foul over the back. 3 fouls on Singleton. Timeout. 15:40 remaining. Ohio State up by 9. Himself, and we're also seeing some body language and gestures as a group amongst themselves. Things aren't so happy right now.
Now, this is the challenge for Mike Jarvis. Got to collectively get them together, calm guys down. I saw his son, Mike Jr., go after Eric Barkley to discuss some things, and of course the big guy has to play well. Ron Artest. He's a second thinking on that one.
Bootsy Thornton, the contested 3, well defended by Brown. They haven't gotten Artest many shots in the last 2 games. He took just 5 shots from the floor against Maryland. Has just 4 attempts tonight.
He gives it up. He's unselfish. This is where they got to tee it up if they want to get back in this. Be aggressive, check out, maybe get a cheapie on the other end.
Jason Singleton playing with 3 fouls for Ohio State. He's on the receiving end of a great pass by Scoonie Penn.
And what a read, the slip by Singleton. He was the guy involved in the flare, and then the slip to the 10.
Jason Singleton went past 1,000 points for his career in the win over Auburn on Thursday night.
And this is where he can do some damage. Pump, step.
Passed it out to Postel. He missed a 3. Artest first to the ball. And if that's on Singleton, it's his 4th.
And I think you're right, Sean. But Ohio State has been flawless on the other end. Getting good shots. Being in the right position. Here's a little screen, a slip. And on the money. Penn. Well, that's what you want your point guard to do. And he's just as tough off the ball, which is what gives Red an opportunity to dominate with the bounce.
Thornton missed a 3. Singleton now on the bench with 4 fouls. George Reese is in. It's Red, Penn, Brown, Johnson, and Reese for Ohio State. The Buckeyes lead by 11.
Makes the rolling hook here.
There it is. And Johnson over Ron Artest.
He's coming along, isn't he?
Yes.
He's more than a guy that can play chopsticks.
When we talked to Jason Singleton yesterday, he said last year Johnson didn't even want the ball, had no confidence in his offensive game. Now you can see that he does want it. Barkley, the runner, quiets the crowd.
This guy wants it too. I mean, he'll put them on his shoulder if given the opportunity. I think he gets disgusted when things aren't going right and says, I'm the guy that's going to take over. This is a key period, I think, for St. John's. The next 4 minutes. Here we go again. Set him up.
Johnson scores over Artest.
A little hook and a little kiss for the folks back at home.
10 for Johnson, who averages 6 a game. And there's a size advantage there. Johnson 6'11", Artest 6'7". Barkley, nice pass to Bootsy Thornton.
And a little slip maybe by Penn with the ball, but they hadn't done that at all. The high pick and dive, that time good read as Barkley got between defenders.
And picking up in the man-to-man in the backcourt. Artest, a steal.
And a leak out.
Postel, fouled by Brown, chance for 3.
The first little spark, and it came from the diamond press just over the timeline, 3/4 court. And Artest, who's playing a fraction of his ability, that time maybe a lift for St. John's. Just getting in the passing lane, and before going out of bounds, an assist to the other end. He had a choice. Postel, the ability, and all of a sudden you got a little juice flowing. You got a little excitement. Mike Jarvis Jr. on the right, And they have not had much to shout about.
Brown to the bench after the foul, replaced by Savovich. Still can't finish. He's 2 out of 4 at the line. Brown's personal foul, his second. And the lead is 9, the largest lead. Seconds ago, 13 on a couple of occasions for the Buckeyes.
Would you call this a danger point for Ohio State? You know, they need a basket.
I don't think they're quite there yet, but Johnson missed a little jump hook and a chance for St. John's perhaps to tilt momentum in its favor.
If St. John's scores, I think Red or Scooney will have the ball on the other end the next trip.
Barkley. Jesse out to Postel. A 3.
They will not go away. You know that. Just by virtue of where they're from.
You're right. This does become an important trip now for Ohio State. A 13-point lead, quickly down to 6, and Jesse called for a foul as he came over the back of George Reese. Let's take a look at the tournament summary. Connecticut, congratulations to Jim Calhoun. Finally won't have to answer any more questions about not making it to the Final Four. They beat Gonzaga. St. John's trying to make it 2 Big East teams on the way to St. Petersburg.
Now we'll talk about what a great job Jim Calhoun's done all throughout his career there, and there won't be that asterisk. Kick, you had him the other way, Penn.
And Penn's all alone on the near side.
There you go. Took a long time.
And for 3, every time they need a hoop, it seems he gives them one.
He sure does. He's got onions and the ability to deliver.
Barkley pulled the rebound away from Johnson and missed the shot. Johnson was fouled on the arm by Barkley. Barkley needs to be careful. He waved his hand right in the face of Gene Mungie.
Well, that's the end of the game that he has totally got to get in control. The emotional end. The ability to kick and find people. Jimmy O'Brien has them set up to deliver. Scooney this trip for Ohio State.
Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Chevrolet Trucks, Bud Light, Nike, and by the Intel Pentium 3 processor.
The largest lead for Ohio State was 13. Right now the Buckeyes lead by 9 with 11.5 remaining. In just 10 days, get ready for a new hour of comedy with the premiere of The Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn. Catch the premiere after David Letterman, March 30th, right here on CBS. Anxious Lou Carnesecca and Connie Jarvis, the wife of St. John's head coach Mike Jarvis.
And rightfully so. Their team is not playing as they're accustomed to. Very important how they value the ball, Ohio State, and the counter. A little different look. Mike Jarvis pulling out all the stops.
They're poised to trap it, backed out of it once Ohio State got it to Penn over at half court.
And here's that little 3-2 that'll flatten out Barkley on top. You got to slip to the foul line and look. Good job. Not a good pass.
Thornton intercepted Reese's pass. Barkley. Whoa! Penn thought he had it cleanly, and that was one of those, Bill, that sounded like the whistle was blowing in anticipation of contact that perhaps did not come.
I think that was a message by Penn. There was no way he was giving up on that basket, Sean. I think no question there's a body in this one, but I think this is all about, you're not getting an easy one. And you can see underneath, the referee can always say that it was body, but this is part of the intensity, the involvement of these 2 point guards. They will not back off.
Barkley missed the free throw.
And Scooney still coaching there, pointing to the head, and he is up in a magnificent fashion.
2 personals on Penn, officially.
Salem, Mass.
That's his hometown. Johnson, bad pass. Couple of bad passes in a row by St. John's, by Ohio State big men. St. John's trying to capitalize. Postel missed the dunk off of Jesse Miss. Barkley on the floor, got the timeout before the rollover.
That's one of those, get the deuce. We don't want to see all the icing. And once again, Barkley's shown. We mentioned Scooney with the ability to negate and great effort with a message. Well, this is the type of game that I've become accustomed to watching and love in Barkley. So smart, the timeout, making sure he saves the pill for his Johnnies.
John Cooper and his wife Helen enjoying the action. Ohio State football coach. Monday on CBS. Find out why everybody loves Raymond. More and more people are discovering why Monday night's #1 comedy is the funniest show on TV. It's Monday at 9, 8 Central, right here on CBS.
Mike, part father, part philosopher, part teacher, asking his guys to trust me. And that was hard. They finally bought in, and to many of these kids, trust me meant, you know, pass the bread, here comes the bologna, but they bought in with him.
With him, you get the feeling the father part is most important. We chatted with him yesterday. He said the greatest joy of his life in coaching has been having his son as an assistant coach on the bench with him for many years. Mike Jarvis II, better known as Deuce. Artest still can't get one to go, and Scooney Penn pulled the rebound away from his teammate Savovich. Scooney at 5'10" has 6 rebounds.
And that's what they need. They need Ron Artest to ring the bell.
Nearly midway through the second half, Ohio State has had a fairly comfortable working margin throughout this second half. Penn for 3. Long rebound. A tip back to Penn by Savovich.
And that's one thing he does. In looking at games, Savovich saves a lot. Just that little flick back, but Reese with a good slip to the post. They are decimating that zone.
16 points for Penn. When he sat out last year as a transfer in practice, he played with the walk-ons and he beat the regulars.
Numbers. Watch the lob.
There it is. Blocked by Artest. Great play by Artest in the corner. They were ready for the acrobatic dunk from Red. Now a 3-on-1. Blocked by Johnson on Postel. Barkley fouled. And he'll shoot 2.
And Reese didn't have to block that because he had the big guy. The Sultan of SWAT in Columbus. Ken Johnson, he's strutting around there, Sean. What a magnificent preparation here. There's one, and right here Reese gets in the middle, and all he had to do is let the big guy loom and do the damage.
This is the third game of the tournament in which Johnson has had 5 blocks. He blocked 5 shots against Murray State, 5 against Detroit, 1 against Auburn. He had foul trouble in that game, and 5 more tonight. 2 out of 3 from the line is Barkley. 2 out of 4. He missed the first of 2. Congratulations to Kentucky Wesleyan, the Division II champions over Metropolitan State. And Connecticut on to the Final Four for the first time. The winner over that appealing Gonzaga team that earned so many fans around the country with its performance.
Dan Munson, what a wonderful job.
Barkley missed both.
And I think those two were attitude shown. While you were doing your homework, he strutted off the foul line in disgust on the first one. Chill, relax.
Savovich with Barkley pestering him. We're approaching 9 minutes left. Ohio State by 10. Red, bullet pass. Savovich. 3.
I'll tell you what, if you're playing against him, that's what you call him too. Savovich. Oh, is he doing little things and now making big hoops?
This matches the largest lead. Postel quiets the crowd with a 3. 19 for Postel. He's almost single-handedly keeping the minute here in the second half. He's capable of having big games.
Very patient outlook by Ohio State. Look at how they're deploying. Nice baseline to the hide man. Get a good look.
Reese missed the baseline jumper. O'Brien probably wanted even a little more patience rather than have Reese take that. He's better a little bit closer to the basket.
Need Artest to start dominating just a little bit.
His 3 is good. Finally, Ron Artest gets a 3-pointer to go. He's 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. And all of a sudden, the lead is down to 7. And a 20-second timeout call by Ohio State.
Sean, you need some good body vibes now for St. John's. I mean, they have been emotionally devoid of that feeling so necessary in the NCAA. And this one, he's almost Wayne. Louis Conisec is saying a prayer upstairs. He's got the priest back on the campus. Come on, Ronnie, give us what you got. You are not playing up to your standard. Just show the country.
What a relief for Artest. You could see him pondering the shot before he took it. Coming off a numbers game against Maryland, the point total down, but look at the rest of the stat sheet. The stat sheet stuffer, as our colleague Clark Kellogg would say. 7 rebounds, 6 block shots, which is one shy of the St. John's single game record of 7 set by Robert Werdan in a game against Hofstra back in December of '89.
He's all about winning, and I got the feeling, well, Barkley's going this way trying to win. Ron Artest is going that way. They got to get it back into the middle, and that's why you have a guy like Mike Jarvis over there who's been able to do it all season long.
8 minutes left. Jason Singleton comes back onto the court with 4 fouls, and that's a travel. Penn dragged his foot as he stopped and went to pass.
A little three-quarter press work.
Now a full timeout. St. John's with momentum, down 7. Just under 8 minutes remaining. Ohio State shooting 53% for the game, leading by 7, but it was 13 seconds ago. Ron Artest just hit a big 3 for St. John's. We'll see if that gets him on track. And Ohio State starting to get shots perhaps from people they don't want shots from.
Well, the zone's been effective in the sense that they got the ball in the right spots. Nice deployment. Reese ends up with a baseline jumper. They get a turnaround in the lane for Johnson. No more Red. No more Penn. Only 3 shots for Michael Red this half. So in effect, they're trying to let others beat them, and that's how St. John's is sneaking back in this one.
Red took 11 shots, made 7 of them in the first half. He's attempted just 3 shots and made 1 here in the second half. Singleton guarding Artest. Thornton is Brown on him. Postel defended by Red. Postel from the elbow. Artest kept it alive. Jesse stripped by Red. 7.5 remaining. That was a big empty trip. St. John's had scored 6 unanswered points, looking to continue that run.
Let's see if the zone's effective getting the wrong guy in the basketball.
Singleton. Count it.
It wasn't. Michael Red, the catalyst. They have done some terrific things. All 4 games we've done, Sean, they have just a wonderful understanding. Here's Red with the turning of the corner. They've got people in the right position. Singleton this time, the beneficiary of a guy who attracts people and loves to give it up as much as he does ringing the bell. Michael Red.
Well, an impressive young man Singleton is, as we chatted with him a couple of times. Going to get his degree this summer in communications with a minor in political science. Hopes to play basketball, but if not, he's well equipped for the future.
Sure is. Very pleasant guy. Great altitude. They go for the pick hide for Barkley.
Barkley missed an open 3. Postel controlled the rebound.
They're going to do a little hop in their step right now. Be sound. And don't be afraid to take it inside and do some damage. Good post up.
Thornton been quiet lately. Splits a double team and scores.
And that's his game, too. He can spring out of there and take a 3 or post up. He's got that aspect of his game.
Thornton has 14 points, only 4 of them here in the second half. Under 7 minutes remaining. Ohio State by 8. Johnson, his pass off the hands of Postel. Penn had it poked away, but right to Johnson, who scored again on a jump hook.
He's available. They can't get in front of him, and he's got some touch.
He has 12 points, double his average. Postel stripped by Red.
A little bit of a zone look that time, a nice strip, but the availability of Johnson using that 3-second lane, setting up his condo, and nobody gets a hand in, and developing a lot of confidence in the jump hook as well as the turnaround jumper.
The second highest point game of the year for Johnson, a season high 15 at Vanderbilt, and a loss early in the year. Hard to believe, early in the year Ohio State lost back-to-back games to Vanderbilt and Toledo.
Yeah, you're like a bad marriage. You always bring up the past.
Postel, high arcing 3. Timeout. St. John's 22 for LeVar Postel.
And that's one response to the zone. I'm not so sure they expected it that deep. And being available, LeVar, a guy that usually does his damage either inside the 3-point line or on the block. He can step out and make that kind of a shot. A little nylon stroke.
Time to check the data bank. Of course, the last time St. John's was in the Final Four, there were 3 Big East teams there, but the 90s have been lean in Final Four appearances for the Big East. with the win today by Connecticut and their advancement to the Final Four. There's two Big East teams in the Final Four in the 90s. Syracuse, the other in 96 when the Orangemen lost to Kentucky in the championship game in the Meadowlands.
Mike has done a great job in cultivating this club. They've second half shown that stick-to-itiveness to hang around. It's going to be tough now. Ohio State, see who's loose and goosey on the offensive end.
I think he hit the nail right on the head yesterday. He said the teams are so similar. I think it comes down to mental toughness. And today we talked about the facial expressions, the body language, not the kind of mental toughness we've come to expect from this St. John's team exhibited today. Penn, a three. There's nobody more mentally tough than him.
The vegetable man. Give me a bag of those. Oh, onions from deep. Whatever they need, he seems to provide. Scooty Penn.
Chudney Gray, a deep reserve in at crunch time here. With Barkley, our test. Brandon Postel, our test.
Statling. Get inside, Ron.
And he spent an awful lot of time in this game on the perimeter, and it is a smaller front court for Ohio State, with the exception of Johnson. Perhaps he's intimidated him with the shot blocking. Barkley fouled. Good foul by Brown, though, to make Barkley earn the two, and Barkley's hurt, grabbing at his right hip.
They have not given up on leak outs for Eric Barkley. Brown this trip, as you noted earlier. Scooty Penn. There's no way he comes out short. That's how tough he is. In the open floor, you would assume you're not going to get somebody, but must have got a little knock either with a leg or an elbow. And he just keeps on ticking, though. This is one of the great competitors in college basketball. And around for 3 more years. He's a baby.
Barkley 2 out of 5 from the line. He made the first. The foul on Brown is third. 12 points now for Barkley. Also a 1-and-1 situation now. Not a factor on this one because it was a shooting foul. But they are in the bonus. And how about that company that Barkley just passed, looking for the 500th point of his freshman season. He has it. And he has set the St. John's freshman record, moving past Chris Mullen and Felipe Lopez.
Pretty impressive credentials. And Barkley and Penn starting to get into it a little bit. So a personal matchup. Even though they're in the trap here, they've been nudging, banging one another.
Under 5 minutes remaining with a trip to the Final Four in St. Petersburg on the line.
Straight up man-to-man.
Red.
This is where he likes to dominate.
And he missed the shot. Reese over the back of Postel. And Reese called for the foul, his second, the team's 8th. It'll be a 1-and-1. Tonight on CBS, it's an all-new night of action, beginning with Early Edition. Then Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall investigate a gang of mobsters in an all-new martial law with guest star Marla Gibbs. And from the producers of Walker, Texas Rangers, Saturday night's newest drama, Sons of Thunder. America's Night of Heroes is right here tonight on CBS.
And you're my hero today, George Reese. That was a bad foul in the sense that they stopped the clock and give 2 freebies at the other end. You got to go behind, deflect. Don't get your body involved if you're a rebounder on the offensive end.
Well, Postel's been big tonight, and he continues. So 23 now. Chudney Gray is going to come back in. 24 for Postel.
With Chudney Gray coming in, I think Rice is playing Christ the King tomorrow for the Catholic League Championship. Barkley's alma mater. Bobby Oliva, the coach there. Mo Hicks, the coach at Rice. Pretty solid kids coming out of those programs.
24 for Postel, a season high. The lead down to 6 for Ohio State. Gray right up on Penn.
Don't let Penn get it back. It'd be the key for Chudney.
Red still not getting many shots. A lot of contact. No whistle. Shot clock 7. Singleton.
What a post entry. 2 tough guys bang one another in Gray and Penn, and still Scooty able to find.
And Gray wincing along the far sideline as he comes into the front court for St. John's. Had that collision with Penn that was uncalled. And Brown a little too frisky up on Bootsy Thornton, and that's 4 on Brian Brown, an excellent on-the-ball defender.
Well, you usually expect it to be physical underneath the rim, but all of a sudden they're teeing it up outside. As he tries to right himself, Johnny takes some shot in. Fortunately for Scooney, he stayed upright, found the post pass. Little kiss delivery by Jason.
I don't think we'll see anything, and hopefully we won't, to rival that collision between Mateen Cleaves and Eduardo Nájera last night. Fortunately, they both got back up and continued to play later on.
Incredible, wasn't it? And they apparently Mateen's fine, and also Nájera, they claim they did all the tests, and they feel he's fine as well.
Bootsy Thornton with a 1-and-1. The next Ohio State foul will be 2 shots the rest of the way for St. John's. Bootsy has 15s, 2 out of 2 now from the line.
But the only thing that upset him, I think, is not having his Baltimore hat this trip, the Oriole hat.
He had his friend Antonio Freeman of the Green Bay Packers cheering him on. Their childhood chums from Baltimore. Under 4 minutes left, a 7-point lead. And Ohio State demonstrating patience with the lead on the offensive end. Red.
Pretty look. Oh, my goodness. Got to squeeze the pill.
Squandered opportunity there for St. John's. It was touched by Johnson, but then Postel couldn't save it. Timeout in Knoxville. Ohio State by 7, 3.5 minutes remaining here in the South Regional Final in Knoxville. Tomorrow, the road to the Final Four leads to the regional finals beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. In Game 1 in the East Regional Final from the Meadowlands, Temple takes on tournament favorite Duke. And in the nightcap from the Midwest Regional in St. Louis, defending national champion Kentucky takes on Big Ten champ Michigan State. Check local listings for the time in your area. Now the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Big edge for St. John's in offensive rebounds. But once again, Ohio State is surviving when being out-rebounded. For complete tournament coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com. Shot clock a factor. Red a runner. Hit the side of the backboard. Red again. In and out. Rebound Artest.
And boy, they are getting that glass and attacking it. Ohio State without the rebounding, able to spread guys out and make sure the right guys handle it late in the clock.
Bootsy Thornton dumped it off to Artest. Artest blocked again by Johnson.
He has been such a factor.
6 blocks. Singleton, acrobatic score.
Oh, call the chiropractor. Oh my goodness, able to hang and twist. All because of great defense by Johnson. What a presence.
What a sequence. That could be the key. 2 possessions back-to-back in the game.
Johnson pops out on that hedge, gets back, always sniffing out in the lane, looks to check out.
Postel a little bit deep for that 3, and Scooney Penn has another rebound. His 7th. Barkley is 6 rebounds, all the offensive end. They can afford to use some time here.
Penn's so confident to give it to guys, and they'll make the right decision.
Red had trouble on the dribble. They're going to foul. He's not a bad guy to foul. 61% from the line. But St. John's, when Johnson blocked that shot, had a chance to get closer than it had been at any time in the second half.
And just look how he lingers around, too. Gets that angle to deflect the basketball and generally keeps it alive. And Scooney, the draw, the dish, and oh, my goodness. Was that some hang time and maneuver that body? Count the vertebrae. You may have lost one.
And 13 points for Singleton in limited playing time because he's been saddled with foul trouble again tonight. He doesn't want his career to end. 2 minutes left. Gray fouls. Barkley is 4, so he cannot commit another foul. Foul on Gray, his first. And that's team foul number 5, so they still can give one more foul before it's the 1-and-1. They might want to do it again.
Yeah, Mike's saying to play straight up. I thought they might give it just to get in that situation.
3 ball controlled by Johnson. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. 23 to shoot. They double Red. He finds Johnson. He finds Singleton. Bad pass. Artest knocked it away from Johnson. Down by 9. Barkley a spin. A block by Johnson. Artest. Thornton, they know Johnson's there. This time a foul by Johnson and a chance for a three-point play.
And John, what a great presence by Ron Artest on that delivery. He went in ready to take the hit, didn't charge, deftly dished it off with the left, and just nice. This is earlier, Barkley with a great run, the recovery by Artest, and now get to the rim. And Thornton, who does this beautifully, able to take a hit and knock it down.
3 fouls on Johnson. Louis knows they needed that one. Timeout called by St. John's. It'll be a full timeout. The Red Storm down by 7 with a minute and a half remaining in Knoxville. 1:28 remaining. Just one timeout left for St. John's. They still have one more foul to commit before they'll get to the bonus situation. The arrow in the favor of the Red Storm.
Philosophically, now you're going to extend the floor. I think you got to give it right away after the made free throw, Sean, and get into that position of one-on-one. Then when you push the basketball, it's got to be quick hitters, get it inside either with the dribble or the pass and go up strong, initiate contact just to make sure the ref has to make a decision on you.
Bootsy Thornton at the line, trying to finish a three-point play. Closest they've been in the second half is 6 at 53-47 with 12:23 left. And they're back within 6 now with 1:28 left.
And as you mentioned, Barkley can't give the foul, so somebody's going to have to, and Gray does. Good play. Smart.
And they'd rather not foul Penn from now on because he is their best free throw shooter. You know, Jim O'Brien's going to do everything he can to get the ball in Scooney's hands. Foul on Gray is second.
And so check how quick his feet are. Barkley's playing him, and he's still able to get free. Here they automatic switch. Look at him step and go. Too many people. They get the walk.
Popovich traveled right in front of the Red Storm bench, and Mike Jarvis helped with the call.
So anytime you have 2 people in the same area, it brings ultimate demise. And you can see easy call for the officials.
Was clearly a travel. So now the Red Storm with a chance to get closer than they have been here in the second half. Bootsy Thornton looking to get it to Artest. Jesse, he travels.
Steps. Oh, catch and shoot. A lot of guys. You can see Louis, who's been in positions like this before. It's tougher in the stands, I think, for Louis. But right here, you get no question about the call. But I think they should have pried a little bit more on Artest, or Bootsy Thornton take the dribble into that elbow area.
Brown used the timeout. He couldn't get it in. Will it be a 20 or a full? That's the question they're asking Jim O'Brien. You saw him say full. 1:20 left. Ohio State now hanging on a bit with this 6-point lead. Tonight on CBS, an all-new night of action, beginning with early edition, then martial law, followed by Sons of Thunder from the producers of Walker, Texas Rangers. 6-point game. Ohio State with a lead in the ball. 1:20 left. 2 timeouts remaining for Ohio State. 1 for St. John's. The next foul will send Ohio State to the line. Get it into Penn. Rather not foul him, but they may not have a choice. Mostel couldn't get there. Barkley can't foul. He has 4. Artest deflected it out of bounds. And Penn went down hard.
I think that was off Penn. I saw Artest. It came down on his body. This is a little bit of a break. And you can see
hit his arm.
He got away with one.
Gave it a fling out of bounds with that arm. He thought he was fouled. He got up looking at Gene Monty looking for a foul. Brown lost it. Artest banked it off a Buckeye. It's St. John's ball. Artest also could have let that one go because it hit Brown last there and was going out of bounds. He thought Brown might save it if he didn't throw it off Brown.
He could have let it go. You're right. A case of controlling your emotions and handling. That's why Penn has to take over. This end, it's Barkley.
1 minute to go. St. John's still alive. Barkley, strong drive, no good. Postella tip, out of bounds. It'll be St. John's ball. The officials conferred and agreed that Mike Jarvis's team will play it in. They reset the shot clock to 35. That shouldn't be a factor. They want to shoot quickly.
Artest has Johnson. He can do some damage on the drive here on the big guy.
Artest does drive, and it stays down for Artest. It's a 4-point game.
You got to get in their denial. Don't let Penn touch.
Remember, Ohio State is a poor free throw shooting team. Penn's their best at 74%. And he's fouled.
And look at that. I love that. You mentioned Jason Siegel. Did you see him run over to help out? A good giveaway by Bootsy Thornton. The crowd thought he was overzealous.
Foul on Thornton is first, the team 7th, so it's a 1-and-1 for Penn. Their best free throw shooter at 74%. He was 4 for 4 from the line against Auburn. A couple of those in real pressure-packed situations Thursday night. 2 for 2 from the line tonight.
Used it all.
There's Scooney's mother, Allegra Penn, has made the trip from Massachusetts, where she has worked on an assembly line in a GE plant for 20 years.
God bless her, huh? And what a joy to see her son performing like this. And what a tough decision to leave BC. His home area, friends and teammates.
2 free throws by Penn. Somehow you knew he'd make goals.
No question. The push now. And he does a nice job not letting Barkley touch.
Do you need a 3 now, Bill?
I think you got to score quick. They're going to end up taking the 3, I think. I'd go to the goal real fast, get set defensively.
Chudney Gray, an unlikely score, gets it back down to 4. The time's running out, 34 seconds left, and they foul Red quickly. Postel committed a foul, his second, the team's 8th. Red's a 61% free throw shooter. Executive producer of CBS Sports is Terry Ewert. The coordinating producer of NCAA basketball, Bob Digas. Today's game produced by Bob Monsbach, directed by Mike Arnold. Coordinating producer of The Road to the Final Four, Eric Mann. Produced by Vin DeVito and David Winter. Directed by Bob Matina. Here's Red at the line for a big 1-and-1. First free throw of the game, no good. Rebound Artest. St. John's down 4. Artest driving down the lane, all the way to the goal. It's a 2-point game.
And nobody stepped up to deny him. They got to deny now. Get it to Penn if they can, Ohio State.
They give it to Reese. They should have fouled him if they had the chance. Now it's back in Penn's hands. Brown bumped hard by Gray. Right at the midpoint line with 19.2 seconds left.
And that was just terrific understanding by Chudney Gray, though. You go for the steal, and you make sure there's an impact. Now, free throws down the stretch. You got to make them. But Ron Artest, who's been silenced, the ability to blow by. And look at the left-hand touch, his favorite hand, even though he is a righty. And right here, try and go for it and make sure you stop play. As Brown gets to the free throw line, about 53%.
And this is the last 1-and-1. 19 fouls now. Any more free throws for Ohio State would be 2. And Reynolds out. 2 to tie, 3 for the lead, and perhaps the trip to the Final Four for the Red Storm. Gray fouled by Reese, and he will shoot 2.
Ooh. And Jimmy looks on. It's in the control of the players. You got to stop dribble penetration. They've had trouble the last couple of trips. The strong left hand. You can see Reese never gets in position. A tough match for him at that point in the game.
What an unlikely player to be in the spotlight. 22nd timeout called by Ohio State. Chudney Gray, a junior from the Bronx, who had appeared in only 26 of their 36 games this year coming in. He had 10 did not plays for coaches' decisions. He's a deep bench player. And for the season, a 66.7% free throw shooter. Doesn't go to the line much, doesn't play much. He's made 20 of 30 free throws this year.
And Sean, as the year has progressed, they've gone to him a little bit to give Eric Barkley a chance to rest. He's got a good feel for what he has to do. The important aspect is if he makes them, it's a different philosophy. He misses them, they're ready to give away the foul. If he makes 2, good denial, pressure, and keep Penn out of the lane if you can.
He's another young man on the St. John's team who has it in the right perspective because of the adversity in his life. He lost his mom, April, 9 years ago to leukemia, was raised by his grandmother, Nellie Claiborne. Chudney Gray, the most important free throws of his life, some of the most important in St. John's history. Savovich checks in. Brown goes out. Still a 2-point lead, 1 free throw remaining for Gray.
If he makes it, they're going to call a timeout.
He made it. It's a 1-point game with 12.2 left. And a timeout called by St. John's, a full timeout. Back for the finish in a moment. The two pulsating regional final games and more exciting action tonight here on CBS. Starts with early edition, then martial law, followed by Sons of Thunder all tonight. America's Night of Heroes on CBS. And still time and opportunity in this game for a hero to present himself. Here's the game reset. St. John's out of timeout, so regardless of what happens, if they're going to have a chance to shoot the tie or win, they're going to have to do it without the benefit of setting it up out of a timeout.
And they get Gray before it's inbounded, and Mike Jarvis says it's okay. He was told that timeout, don't let him catch it. He just was hanging on for dear life.
The reason it's okay, if you're Mike Jarvis, even if Penn makes both, you're only down 3. And the Red Storm could tie it with a 3.
And no timeouts, too.
No timeouts.
He had to set it all up in that timeout. All these sequences now. So you got to get Barkley for the push, drive, and kick back.
2 shots from the line for Penn. 4 for 4 tonight. 8 in a row dating back to their game on Thursday night, and there's a miss.
Gave it a chance. That's all you ever ask of a player.
Singleton returns. Sanderson goes out, and Johnson's going to come back in for defense with Slavovich taking a seat. No timeouts for St. John. If it's a miss, obviously the rebounding is critical.
They think through all the way now.
2 to tie, 3 perhaps for the win for St. John's in the final 10 seconds. Barkley lost it. Stripped by Penn. Red, he should foul, and he does with .7 left. Artest rode him a long time before fouling Michael Red.
And Mike Jarvis wants Eric Barkley over. He's so despondent, he was going to try and calm him down. The old mentor looking on. It's a player's game. A high pick and roll. He got caught up in a little bump as he turns the corner. Artest with the bump, and you just see that little bang defensively causes all the problems.
Now Red with no teammates along the lane. He'll shoot 2, 0 for 1 from the line. If he makes this one, it is certainly over. If not, St. John's has a chance for a miracle, but it'd have to be on a long heave with just 7/10 left.
Catch and turn.
They have a chance for a miracle. Barkley, it's offline. Ohio State goes to the Final Four. Picture that is. If you know anything of the story of Jim O'Brien, regardless of which team you were cheering for, you have to be happy for him. He lost his wife a few years ago at the age of 41 to a heart attack. He's raised 2 daughters by himself. He left his alma mater in controversy, Boston College, a school he loved because of a problem with the administration. Moved to Ohio State, where he was a stranger, finished last in the Big Ten last year. And 1 year after finishing last in the Big Ten, he's in the Final Four. The Buckeyes there for the first time since 1968. And O'Brien will be matched up with his longtime rival, Jim Calhoun. He runs into another former Boston coach. Calhoun won the last 18 meetings head-to-head when O'Brien was at Boston College. And Calhoun has been at Connecticut. The players of the game from Chevrolet are Ken Johnson. 7 block shots really affected the St. John's offense inside, and LeVar Postel kept them in it when they struggled early on. Final score, Ohio State 77, St. John's 74. Stay tuned for Greg Gumbel after this message.
Greg Gumbel back in New York. Coming up tonight here on CBS. Early edition followed by martial law and then Sons of Thunder. That's coming your way. Let's send you back to Knoxville where Ohio State has defeated St. John's 77-74. Bill Raftery is standing by.
Thank you very much, Greg. A very emotional Jim O'Brien. Seeing you with your daughters, what a satisfaction for you.
Yeah, it's a terrific win. I'm speechless. I'm very happy.
Well, you had a guy talking for you all game. You knew if Scooney were on the foul line, generally you're pretty comfortable, aren't you?
No, they made a furious attempt to come back. We got a little bit scattering, but we hung on, and I thought we played very, very well up until the last couple of minutes. St. John's really deserves a lot of credit for the way that they came back. Fortunately, we made a play at the end.
For anybody that knows you, they knew you would hang in, Jimmy. Congratulations. We got Michelle standing by. Michelle Tafoya?
All right, Bill, thank you very much. I'm standing by with a very gracious Mike Jarvis. First of all, the last play, was that a foul on the steal? And just talk about the emotion of this game and why Ohio State was so tough to overcome.
Well, first of all, no, there was not a foul in the last play. Great players make great plays, and I think that was probably Red, who'd been making big plays all day, who came up with the steal. Ohio State played, they played a great game from the beginning to the end. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't match their intensity in the first half. But what I would like to say is that I hope that everybody at St. John's, and particularly the people in New York, are very proud of a very courageous group of young men. I've never been prouder of a team. We had an incredible journey. We didn't get to our destination. And I hope that they'll be mature enough as I to look at it as just a fantastic journey, a gift from God. And, you know, guess what? Hopefully we'll wake up tomorrow morning and we'll start another journey.
You've been so generous with your time. So much to build on. Congratulations on a great season. Let's send it back now to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Michelle, thanks very much. So, Ohio State moves on. Rick Majerus, this was a heck of a game.
Great game. Poise, composure in the backcourt, and a terrific set of shot selection as well as shot allocation.
At St. Petersburg, Clark Kellogg, I assume you'll be wearing the scarlet and gray suit.
I certainly will. Just a tremendous effort and a great story by these Buckeyes. Ken Johnson was the difference in the game in the middle.
All right, we ask you to join us tomorrow here on CBS, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, the Road to the Final Four show. We'll have all the latest news and previews of the day's 2 regional championship games, and Clark and Coach Majerus will join me again here in the studio. Then the action begins on the courts at 2:40 Eastern Time from East Rutherford, New Jersey. East Regional title game. Top seed Duke, number 6 Temple in the Midwest. 3rd seed Kentucky, top seed Michigan State. It all begins tomorrow here on CBS. We thank you for joining us. For the coach and for Clark and for all of us here at CBS Sports, I'm Greg Gumbel. We'll see you then. Coach, how should UConn approach this game?
They're going to have to use the press that got on there, the extended defenses, but then they're going to have to back it off, play straight man-to-man. Gonzaga's 20 of 41, leading three-point shooting team in this tournament here. In addition to defending the three, they've got to rebound the long ball. They must rebound the three.
All right, Coach. Coming up, the first regional final between Gonzaga and UConn at stake. A trip to the Final Four. We will see you at the half. Enjoy the game, everybody, here on CBS.
Once the teams take the court, anything can happen. Hall, 8 to shoot. Hall, the runner! Loose ball! It's good! With 4.4 to go! Shannon! Don't want to foul! Shannon from the corner! And it's over! Gonzaga! The slipper still fits! Now Cinderella meets Connecticut. The Huskies know anything can happen, but this year's team is intent on erasing the image of unfulfilled expectations and going where no UConn team has gone before. The Final Four awaits one team. Will it be David or Goliath? where before the sun sets in the West, one team will have a ticket to the Final Four. From the America West Arena, it's the West Regional Final, a 10 versus a 1, Gonzaga and UConn. And the bracket here in the West, Gonzaga advancing by beating Florida and UConn advancing by beating Iowa. Gus Johnson along with Dan Bonner. And for Gonzaga, Cinderella is still alive, and she likes to shoot the 3.
Gus, the key number for this Cinderella isn't 2 as in evil stepsisters, but it's 3. Gonzaga has made 32 three-point field goals in this tournament. In fact, they've got 8 different guys who have made three-point baskets. Richie Crom made 5 of them in the big win against Florida. Matt Santangelo had 2. Connecticut better get out and guard the three-point line.
As for UConn, this team trying to get to the Final Four for the first time in the school's history. And Danny, they've got 2 great leaders, Khalid El-Amin and Rip Hamilton.
Gus, these 2 guys really did carry the load in a very physical, very tough game against Iowa. They have led Connecticut all year long, different leadership styles. Hamilton, the first-team All-American, very smooth. And El-Amin, nobody would accuse him of being smooth, a vocal leader, but they both have success, and they're going to need to have success today.
So UConn and Gonzaga set to meet each other for the first time with a trip to the Final Four on the line. A sellout crowd in Phoenix, over 18,000, ready to see Gonzaga and the Connecticut Huskies in the bracket here in the West. The final, Connecticut taking on Gonzaga, UConn beating Iowa, Gonzaga, Florida. And to get to the Final 8, the Gonzaga Bulldogs have been giant killers, knocking off Minnesota, Stanford, and Florida. But they face the ultimate test today against UConn. It's like David and Goliath.
Well, I think this has got a lot of similarities to David versus Goliath. Yeah, I think that there's no question this is the first time in this tournament that we feel like we're up against huge obstacles.
David's awful good. David can throw those rocks. He doesn't have just one slingshot. He's about 6 of them I can think of. And he doesn't, unfortunately, do it from short range. He does it from a distance where they hurt a lot more. They're the best three-point shooting team we've faced.
What we told our kids is this has got to be another Stanford effort where we understand that every possession, you can't let a great team like this get rolling.
Gonzaga trying to advance to the Final Four as a number 10 seed. It would be a tremendous feat. And for more on the Bulldogs, let's go to Barry Booker.
Gus, Gonzaga has generated more headlines than anyone in the tournament to this point, and they've already written one for tomorrow. They want to change UConn to you can't. I just spoke to their assistant coaches and look for Gonzaga to play a little triangle and 2 and diamond and 1 today to try and contain Richard Hamilton and Khalid El-Amin. Back to you, Gus.
All right, Barry, so coming up, the starting lineups and the opening tip from the West.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Genuine Chevrolet, Arthur Anderson, Dockers Khakis, and by Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar.
80 degrees and sunny outside the America West Arena. We're set for Gonzaga and Connecticut for a trip to the Final Four. Dan Munson, second year, 37 years old. He's the head coach for the Bulldogs. His lineup in the front court from Eaton and Casey Calvary. And in the back court, Quentin Hall and Matt Santangelo. Jim Calhoun, the head coach for the Connecticut Huskies, 13th year, looking for his first trip to the Final Four. And the starting lineup for UConn. Take a look in the front court, Freeman Voskuhl and Rip Hamilton. And in the back court, their leader, Khalid El-Amin and Ricky Moore. The officials today, Andre Patillo, Larry Rose, and Bobby Hunt. And Dan, early on, what should we look forward to seeing between these two?
Gonzaga is going to try to shoot the 3, Gus. UConn is going to try to defend the 3, look for the Huskies to get out and run. They're one of the country's top teams in transition.
And Gonzaga, coming into this game, they defeated Florida by 1 point on Thursday. Their profile, they play in the West Coast Conference. Close to 5,000 students in attendance. Their record 28-6. That young man there, Richie Fromm, is the three-point bomber. Matt Santangelo as well. He can shoot it from the arc. Connecticut 78-68 winners over Iowa on Thursday. So the Huskies in white, the Bulldogs in blue. And here we go. Controlled by Gonzaga. Here's Quentin Hall, the senior from the Bahamas. He draws Elamine.
Connecticut opens in the man-to-man. Hamilton is matched up against Fromm.
Santangelo.
Santangelo, very important as a ball handler, and Gus Ricky Moore is all over it.
Hall cut off by Elamine. Picks up his dribble, 12 to shoot. Casey Calvary down the lane. 6 to shoot. Fromm, quick release. Off the back iron, Freeman boxes out and comes up with the board.
Freeman is only 6'7", but he's a tremendous rebounder. Eaton is 6'11", and Freeman moved him right out. And Gonzaga opens in the man-to-man as well.
Khalid Elamine, the sophomore from Minneapolis. He is the straw that stirs the drink for this UConn squad. Ricky Moore. And a whistle and foul on the baseline.
Dan Munson complaining about that particular call, and Larry Rose giving him the stare down early in the game. Munson is upset. He felt as if there was some physical play when his team had the ball on offense. Doesn't understand why the foul was called against the Bulldogs.
Matt Santangelo picks up his first. A minute into the first half, no score from Phoenix. Rip Hamilton, great ball fake. Steps back and knocks it down from 12.
And here's the Connecticut pressure.
Santangelo quickly over the line. Jump stop, rising fire. Got it.
Sometimes if you can beat pressure, you're going to get wide open shots. In Connecticut, they like to pressure, but they've got to be careful. They cannot let a team of shooters like Gonzaga get wide open opportunities.
Freeman guarded by Calvary across the lane. Jump hook, short. Got his back, blocked. Calvary, what an athlete in the pivot for this Gonzaga squad.
Guy who on Midnight Madness jumps over students to demonstrate his dunks. And when Calvary's able to get his feet set on the inside, not only can he jump to a good height, but he also gets up very quickly as Freeman gets the rebound. Calvary times his jump. Gonzaga is not small on the inside. Calvary is 6'8". Eaton is 6'11".
He led the West Coast Conference in block shots last year, tied for second this season. Santangelo really be impressed by Ricky Moore. A lot of dribbling for Santangelo. Down the lane and a 5-second call.
The 5-second violation is in effect when you're dribbling if the defender is within 6 feet of you. Now, if you get your head and shoulders past the defender, the count is off. But Santangelo never able to do that. Moore, one of the country's top defenders.
Here's Ricky Moore, senior from Augusta, Georgia. Starts on the wing, guarded by Santangelo. Elamine. Good matchup here, Elamine and Hall. Both very quick. Elamine up in the air, loose ball. Hall grabs it in the corner. Gonzaga on the move. All the way open, Eaton, and he had it blocked from behind by Freeman. Freeman shovels it. Elamine jump stop, and Eaton with the ball.
Gonzaga does not mind running up and down.
Santangelo calling for the high screen, hesitation to the basket, off the glass, and Ricky Moore comes up with it.
Boy, what a rebound.
Hamilton got the step on the baseline, cut off, fadeaway jump shot, Strong. Calvary with the ball.
Speaking of strong, Calvary's rebound was very strong as well. This little guy dribbling the ball is more physical than you might think. He and Elamine are going to have a great matchup today.
He also has feline quickness on defense. Pull-up jump shot, rebounded by Calvary and a new shot clock. Once again, he reloads, and this time Jeremy Eaton buries it. The senior from Benton City, Washington.
He is not a three-point shooter, but he can go out to 18 feet and make the jump shot.
So Gonzaga up 4-2, 16:33 to go here in the first half of play. The winner advancing to the Final Four. A 10 versus a 1.
We've got a mismatch now. Hall is matched up against Hamilton. Let's see if Connecticut realizes and tries to punch it inside.
Eaton hedging out. 4 to shoot. Ricky Moore steps back and got it. Knocked it down with confidence to tie it up at 4.
And that was outstanding defense. Just a tremendous offensive sequence for the Huskies.
Hall with the quick step, and he draws the foul inside.
And they're going to count the basket.
A little continuation there.
We talked about what a great matchup this could be. Elamine against Hall. Hall maybe has a step in quickness, just gets his head and shoulders by Elamine. When Elamine bodies him, the ball goes down. Nice job by Hall to shoot it when he feels the contact.
So Elamine picking up his second foul. And Elamine takes a quick seat. Quentin Hall misses the free throw, and he got the rebound. Steps back. Loose ball from diving on the sideline, and he's out of bounds. But look at the hustle already by the Bulldogs. 15 and 52 to go. They're up by a deuce. Under 16 to play in the first half. Gonzaga up by 2. However, the big story, Khalid Elamine already with 2 personal fouls.
And that really could be a significant factor. Albert Mooring has come off the bench. Now, Mooring did score 11 points in the game the other night against Iowa, so he's been a valuable contributor, but Elamine only turned the ball over 1 time against the Iowa pressure, and now you can see with Elamine out of the game, Gonzaga going to try to apply a little pressure.
Ricky Moore. Now Ricky Moore will move to point guard. Mooring will play the 2.
And Gonzaga coming out in a zone, 2-3 zone look.
Freeman flashing to the basket, got it back and up. He is tied up. Possession arrow goes to the defense, and Gonzaga.
Gonzaga is not a bunch of slow three-point shooters. Gonzaga has some very, very good athletes. Eaton and Calvary are really quick and clever on the inside.
Hall and Santangelo bringing the ball up the floor. This kid here, Quentin Hall from the Bahamas, really good with the basketball.
So quick with the basketball. He is going to be a tough defensive matchup in the man-to-man.
Santangelo. Guarded by Moore. Eaton. 10 to shoot. Hall off the dribble again. Got it.
There's that quickness we're talking about. Connecticut might want to think about switching Ricky Moore onto Quentin Hall.
Young fella has the heart of a lion. His dad, Ralph, and mom, Cynthia, back in the Bahamas watching this game. Father plays in a band. Here's Moore and 1.
And Ricky Moore can play inside. Great penetration against the 1-2-2 or 3-2 zone look. Gonzaga trying to match up. You see all the room that Moore has as he penetrates down into the middle and draws the foul. If you're going to play a zone, you cannot allow penetration off the dribble.
Eaton picks up his first foul. Edmund Saunders, a sophomore from Waterbury, Connecticut, number 51 in the game for the Huskies. And Ricky Moore at the free throw line looking to complete the conventional three-point play, and he does. 14 and 45 to go in the first half. 8-7 Bulldogs.
And with Quentin Hall on the bench to take the rest, Santangelo going to take over the point guard duties.
Calvary baseline pull-up. And it's rebounded by Moore. Ricky Moore quickly into the front court, Mooring, and he travels. Now for complete tournament coverage with live scores, stats, and more, check out Tournament Live only on cbs.sportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
Connecticut pressure, 1-2-2. Going to try to trap the ball.
Do you want to bring this ball up on the sideline?
You'd prefer to stay out of the sideline if you could, but if you can enter that far up the court with the pass, Gus, then that's all right.
Leisure and Floyd on the floor for Gonzaga. Santangelo around the corner, double pump.
Oh, did you see Calvary get up and tip that ball? Wow.
Saunders with the rebound. Moore crosses over, hops inside, and draws the bump.
just as Quinton Hall's quickness created some problems for UConn trying to defend the perimeter, Ricky Moore's quickness against that zone has now drawn 2 fouls.
So Ricky Moore inbounding on the baseline. And the scoring so far most by Moore, but there's Rip Hamilton around the screen off the inbounds play. And Connecticut takes the lead.
Connecticut stays in the man-to-man.
Triple team, then throws it out of bounds.
Richard Hamilton is a guy who moves very well without the basketball, and that movement without the ball can get you open. Good screen out at the top by Saunders. Gonzaga goes to sleep a little bit on defense, and you can't lose Richard Hamilton when you're playing D.
Hamilton, two-time Big East Player of the Year, the only players to do that in the history of the conference, Chris Mullen and Patrick Ewing. So Ricky Moore to Freeman. He's got Mooring, Saunders, and Rip Hamilton stolen away by Floyd. Floyd down the lane. Off the window, strong. Loose ball. Calvary. Power dribble, and it's stolen. Mooring. Cross court. Hamilton. Nice catch. Freeman to the cup, and the bunny is good. 7 unanswered points by the Connecticut Huskies, and they take an 11-8 lead.
You just cannot make any mistakes that are going to result in transition opportunities for Connecticut. They really finish well.
Leaser, and he answers. This kid stepped off the bench on Thursday, hit some big threes for Gonzaga.
And the 3 has been the Gonzaga answer throughout the entire tournament, and it's going to have to be today as well.
And a whistle at 5.
Kevin Freeman is as hard-nosed and effective an inside player as you want to see. He goes up and gets the ball in traffic. He's used to playing against bigger guys inside. Nice little scoop shot.
Harrison back in the game, or into the game, and Ricky Moore takes a seat, gets a blow. Remember, Khalid El-Amin going out with 15:52 to go in the first half with 2 fouls. And Hamilton stepping on the baseline out of bounds.
Same play that Jim Calhoun's Huskies ran before. The time before, Hamilton got a layup. That time he stepped out of bounds.
4 turnovers apiece for Connecticut and Gonzaga. Harrison guarding Santangelo. Santangelo very good with the basketball as well. These guys from Gonzaga, great fundamentals.
Don't want to be dribbling the ball too much, however.
Calvary. Floyd off of a screen. Ball tapped. Bosco with the rebound. Hamilton quickly into the front court. Wheels inside. Count it. And the foul.
One of the problems when you shoot a lot of three-point baskets is if you're not going to make them, there's going to be long rebounds. And those long rebounds, all that does is help UConn get started in the fast break. What a great move on the dribble by Hamilton. First the hesitation, then the spin to draw the foul. Gonzaga cannot let UConn get in the transition game. What a marvelous spin move. And then Hamilton, he looks thin, but he's got the power to get it up over Calvary.
Calvary with his first foul. And Hamilton already with 6 points. 11:58 to go. We're in the first half, 13-11 UConn. Hamilton, 3 straight years, averaging at least 19 points a game. And he missed the throw. Axel Dench in the game. Where's number 30 for the Bulldogs? So it's Santangelo, Leisure, Nielsen, Dench, and Floyd. Nielsen, stop and start, kicks it out. Leisure to the basket. He's fouled from behind. Saunders got him on the wrist.
It's funny, once you establish the fact that you can shoot that three-point basket, guys got to come out and guard you. And Leisure actually fumbled the ball. I think he'd have taken a 3. Nice job to put it on the deck and draw the foul.
So, Mike Leisure from Spanaway, Washington, he's a senior. At the line, Vosco picked up the foul. First one is good. This young man originally was scheduled to go to the University of Reno, but a coaching change took place. He sat out 1 year, did not go to college, so his eligibility was intact, and he decided to go to Gonzaga.
I play this. One time.
Second one up, and good. 11:39 to go, first half of play. UConn, Gonzaga, tied up at 13. 11:39 to go in the first half. 13 apiece, and a look at the data bank.
Most NCAA tournament appearances without a trip to the Final Four. Well, at the top of the list is UConn. They would certainly like to change that. It's funny what great success they've had at UConn under Jim Calhoun, but if they don't get to the Final Four, a 31-3 season will be considered a disappointment. Tell me how crazy that is.
Harrison and Saunders. Ricky Moore along with Voskuhl. Roshmel Jones also on the floor for UConn. Saunders, pull-up jump shot, and he buried it.
And somebody's just lost him.
Thought about it, took it, and it counts. Fromm now guarded by Moore. Over the line.
Here's Harrison now going to try to match up against Hall.
Nielsen guarded by Roshmel Jones.
This guy'll shoot it.
And he does. Rebounded inside Harrison. Nice rebound, blocking out Hall. In the corner, Jones. Inside, Voskuhl, jump hook, hard off the window. Tapped around into the hands of Nielsen. Quentin Hall, speed dribble, kicks it back from. Leisure, one-hand rebound. And a steal.
And that'll result in a fast break.
Harrison, and he's fouled. And Harrison down on the baseline. And he's holding his knee or hamstring.
You just simply cannot turn the ball over to Connecticut in situations that allow them to get down the court. Harrison dribbling the ball in the middle, and you can see the expression on his face as he throws the ball up on the rim. I think it's a hamstring, Gus. Right before he leaves his feet, I think he pulled that hamstring, and Connecticut, with Elamine sitting on the bench with 2 personal fouls, can't afford to lose another guard.
Now, near the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select a genuine Chevrolet most valuable player of the game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed over $7 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. So E.J. Harrison, a senior from Danbury, Connecticut.
They're flexing that thing as if it's a knee, and let's watch that step right there where the knee just goes right out from under it.
And it didn't buckle a bit. And Harrison gets up, though, and he walks off on his own. So Richard Hamilton comes into the game to shoot free throws.
You are allowed to bring in a guy to shoot the free throw if it's a technical free throw or if you have an injury.
Harrison being tended to. Hamilton, great free throw shooter. First one is good. And Rip Hamilton in the tournament, the first 3 games, he's put on a show. Check out his numbers.
First team All-American, and now those are certainly All-American numbers right there.
From Coatesville, Pennsylvania. 7 points and a rebound. Missed the second. Leisure with the board.
Great tip by Fromm.
Gonzaga, 1 of 6 from the 3-point line so far. They were 12 of 22 on Thursday against Florida.
Connecticut does a great job defending that 3-point line.
Leisure hops inside, got it back, and he is fouled. Voskuhl.
And that's Voskuhl's second foul.
So Connecticut, a couple of their big guns in foul trouble already. Elamine on the bench with 2, and Voskuhl now draws his second.
If Connecticut is going to defend the 3 effectively, then obviously Gonzaga is going to have to get something inside, and Leisure picks up another one of those long rebounds and draws the foul.
Leisure at the line. And this Gonzaga squad, a very good free throw shooting team. They shoot 72% as a team on the season. Second one good as well.
Gonzaga plays 10 people, and they all contribute, sometimes more, sometimes less, but they've got 10 guys who contribute. 8 of those guys can shoot the three-point basket. Connecticut in this tournament, Gus, they've held their opponents to under 25% three-point shooting, so it's not going to be easy for Gonzaga.
Jones to the basket.
Oh, what a tip!
Up and in by Saunders. So Edmund Saunders gives Connecticut an 18-15 lead. Under 10 to go. Fromm dumps it down. Eaton wheels on the baseline. Nice looking baby hook.
Really is clever with the ball on the inside.
Jones the other way.
Box and 1 now going on out there for Gonzaga.
And they're guarding Hamilton.
Nielsen is guarding Hamilton. Everybody else playing zone.
Iowa tried this on Thursday. Jones squares up and knocked it down with confidence.
This is a tough defense to execute against Connecticut because they have so many other offensive weapons.
2017. 9 minutes to go in the first half. Hall crosses over. Calvary down the lane. Got it. We told you this kid's an athlete.
And he's the guy who can put the ball on the deck and go to the basket. And again, UConn really getting out to defend the perimeter. Very intelligent by Gonzaga to go to the basket.
Ricky Moore, Jones, Saunders, Freeman, and Hamilton for UConn. In white. Freeman in the pivot. Jump hook. Off the heel of the rim. And out of bounds. Last touch by the Huskies. Substitutions in the game. Mooring comes in for Connecticut, and Santangelo back for Gonzaga.
One thing that Dan Munson's defense, the box and 1, is able to do is slow Connecticut down a little bit. They may not be able to stop them, but at least they're stopping that transition basketball and making them play at a slower, less comfortable pace.
Harrison has a mild knee sprain, and he will be back. Eaton strong with a basket and a foul on the floor. And it looks as if Gonzaga, Dan, is taking what the defense gives them.
This is a very intelligent basketball team. A real good job to get the ball inside to Eaton. And you can see Eaton's skill as he's able to spin and use both hands on the inside. There they go again.
Eaton gathers himself. And Ricky Moore with the rebound.
Nice defense that time by Saunders.
Mooring wide open. Quick release. Tipped up and Hall, the smallest guy on the floor with the rebound. Hall pops out on the wing. Eaton again. Eaton in the pivot.
He walked.
And he walked. 6 turnovers for Gonzaga. 7:34 to go in the first half of play. Huskies up by a point. The game summary here in the first half. Good defense by Connecticut, limiting Gonzaga to 1 of 6 shooting. But Khalid Elamine, only 4 minutes played, no points. He already has 2 fouls, Dan Bond.
And that has been a big factor in the game. Connecticut needs Elamine if they're going to compete against a top-notch team like Gonzaga. The other thing is, not only is Elamine on the bench with 2 fouls, but so is Jake Voskuhl, because Voskuhl's not in the game. Gonzaga has been attempting to punch the ball inside. They haven't been able to exploit the three-point line due to some top-notch Connecticut defense, so they're now trying to go inside.
So Ricky Moore brings it up the floor along with Hamilton, Freeman, Saunders, and Mooring. 3 guards on the court for this Connecticut squad. Mooring playing with the tender right knee.
Hall is now matched up against Hamilton in the box and 1. Isn't that interesting?
Saunders. Hall diving out of bounds, and Connecticut gets it back. Tonight on CBS, meet 2 private eyes who learn from the best. Chuck Norris From the producers of Walker, Texas Ranger, it's the next generation of justice and all new Sons of Thunder tonight on CBS. 7:06 to go. First half of play. UConn up 20-19. New shot clock for the Huskies. Inside, Saunders, jump stop. Rebound, Freeman. And jump ball again. Bulldogs once again getting the ball back. And what do you think about this rule?
I think when the defense can get the held ball, Gus, and it's clear like that, it's a pretty good rule. Saunders not able to make the basket inside. And then Freeman, remember, he's 6'7", Eaton is 6'11", and I think the Gonzaga size actually making a difference.
Santangelo, Fromm, and Hall in the backcourt with Calvary and Eaton for Gonzaga. Here's Eaton. Calvary for 20. And he got the bounce. Gonzaga up 22-20. Mooring lost it. Rebounded by Santangelo. Gonzaga